What exactly is the European Union's agenda for big tech? And AirPods as a Ferrari security device. This is MacVoices. This edition of MacVoices is supported by Notion AI, the one tool that does it all. Try Notion AI for free at notion.com/MacVoices. Hey, we're going to run just a little long because there are a couple things I definitely want to get to tonight, so we don't let them go. So I'm going to throw two articles in the chat rooms right now that sort of both advance something that is sort of my feeling as we've gone in the last few months, and this has been discussed before. But the EU is pushing on making Apple open up iOS for better accessory compatibility as part of their demands on, doing what they're doing. And then there's another article that Meta faces hefty EU antitrust fines over classified ad practices. It just feels like the EU is really throwing their weight around and also looking for cash from these companies. It seems like they want to do everything they can to catch them doing something, and especially in the case of Apple, that I don't want my iOS opened up for better accessory compatibility. I want it to stay safe and secure. And yet it just seems like the EU pushes this. And if you don't play ball with the EU, then they do what they're doing to Meta and have already done with Apple, and they find the living daylights out of them. So that's my take on it. Oh, I'm sorry. Brian says the Financial Times one was paywalled. It was open for me. I don't know why, but I mean, am I that far out of line, guys, or am I just too much of an Apple fanboy? And I see everybody piling on Apple, and then when I say that, but they're piling on Meta and Google too, and it's the same story every time. Numbers with a lot of zeros and maybe a few commas.
Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, one of the reasons why I choose Apple over competitors is because of the security and knowing that it has a trustworthy reputation. And if you start opening up, the system to allow for unauthorized accessories or, opening up to these different options, it's going to make it less safe. It's going to ruin reputations and things of that matter that are very hard to bring back. So I agree with you completely. And, at what point do you just, I think I see Cletus mentioning something in the chat room about, does Apple really need Europe? What would happen if Apple left? It's at what point is it just, it's not even the same company anymore if it goes too far one way.
Yeah, it just feels like in my fantasy, I would love to see Apple make an iOS 18 EC version that just ran on European Commission phones, and let the chips fall as they will with an operating system that is not closed and that has all potentials for problems with it. Just make sure you're not running, in European, under the European Union, you got to run the EC version. But everywhere else, we can have our system the way we want our system.
No.
Dave?
I applaud Apple to being strong when it comes to accessories. I mean, that forces that you have to have a certified accessories to work with an Apple product. In this case, it's iOS on an iPhone or an iPad. With these gas station cables and all this other crap that's out there, buyer beware. That's why you lock it down. And a lot of times you buy those cords and they don't work because for that very reason. So I applaud them for that. But again, their hand may be forced again, like it was with the App Store in the EU, that they may have to do it for accessories too. looks like in the article it says that they're asking to have it done. I don't think Apple will want to comply.
And so at that point, then they start to legislate things that will make them comply, or they will fine them.
Barry in the chat says, what's next? The EU wanting to allow an Android OS to be installed on iPhones? That's not too far-fetched, actually. Yep. So I think just generally, the EU has good intentions with what they're doing, but what they're doing, I don't think, is in line with what in some cases is best for consumers, and it certainly isn't in line with what device and software makers generally are looking for. And I know I'm using the wrong word here, but I just can't think of the right word. It's like the EU wants to commoditize our personal technology devices. So it doesn't matter what you buy, you're getting the same thing from everyone.
Jeff, that's the perfect word. That's the perfect word.
That's not what people want.
Well, it doesn't make any sense, because then, why does anybody start companies? Why does anybody try to make a better product if it's all going to be the same?
Mm-hmm. You're hitting on something that really bugs me about the USB-C standard being legislated. My feeling is once that happened, that's it. We know what single port we have for the rest of our lives, because there's no value in any company trying to come up with a better connector now, because how do you get that through the whole process of other companies agreeing to get on board, getting governments to change the laws so that you can have a different port? And that's it. We're in a USB-C world now. That's it.
And there are definite advantages to that, but it also feels like it's today. Yes, exactly, Jeff. And it feels like it's satisfied the whining consumer that, I have all these cables, all these connections, and I don't understand. And if you look back at the history of the connections and the cables, you find that there have been huge improvements, especially in speed. And there have been reasons to move from one to the next, to the next, to the next. I don't want to go back to SCSI. Thank you very much. Please. No. So David can relate.
I still have a SCSI Terminator sitting in a box just so that I remember what we went through. Never forget.
Yep, I have one downstairs too. Oh my God, token ring. Oh gee.
I need therapy now.
Yes. Yeah, Roy. Where's the bartender? This edition of MacVoices is supported by Notion. Try Notion for free at notion.com/MacVoices. Have you wanted to put AI to work for you, but don't know where to start? I can give you a hint. Notion. The new Notion AI is a single AI tool that does it all. Search across Notion and other apps, generate docs in your own style, analyze PDFs and images, and chat with you about anything. That sounds rather bold, doesn't it? But it's true. Let's take PDFs, for example. We're drowning in them, right? I get tons of PDFs each week, all of them supposedly crammed with important information. If I tried to read them all, I wouldn't get anything else done and wouldn't remember half of it. With Notion, I can get them boiled down to something both manageable and useful. The torrent becomes a tight stream of actionable information. And that's just a start. Notion is a perfect place to organize your tasks, track, write docs, and collaborate with your team. And maybe best of all, the more you use Notion, the better it gets, because it gets to know you, your style, and how you want to present yourself. Concerned about security? Don't be. Notion AI is designed to protect your privacy. Notion AI partners are contractually prohibited from using your data to train their AI models, and it will only reference content that you have access to. Time is money, so get Notion now and save some of both. Try Notion for free when you go to notion.com/MacVoices. That's all lowercase Notion, NOTION.com/MacVoices to try the powerful, easy-to-use Notion AI today. And when you use my link, you're supporting my show. Notion.com/MacVoices. Thanks to Notion for supporting MacVoices. Last one of the evening, which we always have to end with something that hopefully is a little bit enjoyable. A stolen Ferrari worth $575,000 was found by tracking the owner's AirPods.
That's beautiful.
And if the EU had its way, they would object to this. And who was it? If Tim Sweeney had his way, he'd be pointing out that the thieves have the right not to be tracked. So,
oh, how long before we get a government agency saying AirPods are a privacy concern?
Yeah, and this time it wasn't an AirTag; it was AirPods.
Yeah, it was AirPods. Yeah. So that this obviously is an invasion on somebody's privacy because they don't want me to find my AirPods. But if Apple were to discontinue and take that capability out, it's all well. Apple just wants you to buy another set of AirPods because you can't find yours and you lost them. Yeah, I mean, can't you just hear it?
Before you steal
AirPods.
Yeah, before you steal a Ferrari, make sure and check it for AirPods.
Yeah, you can bet that mistake's not going to happen again.
Yeah, I think Webb is no longer in the chat room because I was hoping he would be here for this tonight. because
he's out checking his car to make sure there's AirPods.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And didn't I read that this owner had another set of AirPods in their house? Like they have their car AirPods and then their house AirPods. Which, if you're a Ferrari owner, I think you're almost required by law to have that.
Pocket change for them.
Well, let's face it. Well, never mind. We're not going to get into that.
Like maybe you should put 2 AirPods in your Ferrari, like one as a decoy.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And the thief would be like, "Oh, get rid of these AirPods," and they won't realize there's another one.
I love it. That's a great one, Jim. Decoy AirPods. If we did show titles, that would be the show title right there. Guys, this has been a good discussion, and I especially want to thank the chat room. I mean, there are people that are fact checking us. There are people that are looking up things. This is why I love the chat room, and I love the people that show up here because they're not just we have a good time, but we also get some really great information coming about, and not everybody agrees, and that's also a beautiful thing. Cletus says,
"This is how you can tell that this is not the vice presidential debate because there's fast checking."
And Jim, this is why I love you. One of the many reasons.
Cletus says, "Voodoo Scuzzy." Yeah, there you go.
Webb says he's here.
Oh, Webb's here. Wait, Webb's here. Oh, you're there. Okay, Webb.
Checking.
You get that while we're doing the outros. You give us your thoughts on Ferraris and AirPods, please.
I wonder if your insurance rates go down if you have a luxury car and AirPods.
Maybe
we could try. Let's go around the room and while Webb is contemplating and see what you guys, where we can find you guys. I'm going to flip it around. Start with Jeff. Jeff, thanks so much for being here. Where can folks find you?
Chuck, thank you for being so patient and tolerant. Because, I mean, just all this. Anyhow, social media. I'm Jay Gamet everywhere. Fair warning, if you're following me on Instagram and Mastodon, you will be seeing ridiculous drawings every day this month because it's Inktober. Let's see. For podcasts, here Tuesdays with you, Chuck, on MacVoices Live. Thursdays with Dave on his show, In Touch with iOS. For the British Tech Network, Big Show on Thursdays, Mac Show on Fridays. Brian Chaffin and I do The Context Machine, and Patrice Brendamore and I do Retro Rewatch.
Great. Thank you, Jeff, very much. Jim Ray, thank you for being here and skipping the vice presidential debates. I'm sure they missed you. Where can folks find you?
Just look for the fly on one of the candidates, and that's me. Or Mastodon. On Mastodon, what am I? ProView Jim at techhub.social. PROVUE. Completely misspelled because that's the way I roll.
That's good. That's good. Thank you, Jim. Brian Flanigan-Arthurs, thank you for being here. Where can folks find your wisdom?
Well, thank you. I appreciate being here. Best place to reach me is on Mastodon, Brian8944 at mastodon.cloud.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yep.
Marty Jencius, our resident AI person. Where can folks contact you?
Jencius, Jencius at mastodon.social. Here on Tuesday nights and often, but not this week, I'm out of town, with Dave and Jeff on In Touch with iOS on Thursday nights. And then with Eric Bolden, who left early, we both do a podcast and a vodcast of YouTube stream of our show, Vision Profiles, on Monday nights at 9 o'clock Eastern time. So look for us there.
Great. Thank you very much, Marty. An update from Webb Bixby. He said when the Chicago Police Department was giving away AirTags for cars, he hid one in each one of his cars. So that means he can probably find the ones he sold now. The cars, not the AirTags. David Ginsburg, do we need an AirTag to track you, or do we know where to find you?
I think you could find me. Thanks for having me, as always. I'm at In Touch with iOS and InTouchWithIOS.com. YouTube channel is youtube.com/InTouchWithIOS. Here on Tuesday nights, Fridays on the Mac Show, British Tech Network, and Mastodon, Dave G65 at Mastodon.cloud.
Thank you, David. Good to have you as always.
Thank you.
Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is Mac Voices Live, Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'd love to have you join us in the chat room. Again, the folks in there tonight have been fantastic with great comments, thoughts, and a little bit of fun too. Oh, and Webb, thank you, Webb. We'll wrap this up on his last comment. I also hit an AirTag in Chuck's bedroom. I'm not sure what he wants to track. We'll find out in After Dark. Until the next time, this is Mac Voices. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with Mac Voices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.